Hello, scrappy friends. Welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. It's January 2024, and I hope that y'all had a wonderful and blessed holiday season. And I'm back with kind of a new video for you guys today. Well, not new. I have done this before in the past, but it's been a while. But every once in a while, I feel like a tool comes around and it's designed to do one function, and it just inspires me to do so much more with it. So I call this series, I guess you can say, Borders and More, because it starts off as a border, but I'm hopefully going to show you 5 different ways that I can take this new admissions ticket border punch and create some different ways to use it. So of course, as you can see here on my desk, I have, this is the original punch out. This is how it comes when you punch it out the standard way that it was designed for. So all of our Creative Memories punches have the guidelines on the front and the template on the base. And if you just follow it the way it's designed, then this is what you get out of it. It's super cute, could be used for a lot of different things. Of course, it came out with the amusement park collection, but it could also be used for just movies, football games, or any sporting event. Lots of different places where you would need a ticket to enter, then this would be the punch for you. So before we get into the 5 DIY embellishments that I want to show you, let me show you a couple little tricks that we can do with this punch just as it comes out of the punch itself. So the first thing is, this is a perfect punch to do some weaving. So if we take a strip of paper, and this is a 7/8 by 12-inch piece of paper. So the width is very important. 7/8 is the exact number that you want. 1 whole inch, too big. Okay, you can maybe go smaller if you wanted a different look, but you're gonna see here why 7/8 is the perfect width. So I would start by going down into it, because then as you come across and you go up the next slot, you'll see it backs the little dots with the yellow paper as well. So we just continue that going down. I gave it a little bit of a pull, coming up and pull, and I'm going to keep doing that all the way to the other end. And you can already see how well the 7/8 inch wide strip fits on this ticket. And there we go. You see how beautiful that looks? Like it has a frame around the insert right there. Perfect. So simple to do, and this will make your page just really pop. Let me bring in a piece of pattern paper instead of the white, and you can see it just looks so beautiful on there. And I would just put a little bit of adhesive underneath the ends, maybe decorate right onto the ticket itself, and then you're on to adding your photos and finishing off your page. So super simple. Another fun thing to do, let me slide this out, is if you take your ticket punch, and if you want to just fill in the little areas here, I cut these pieces. They are 1 inch wide by 1 3/4 inches long. And you'll see if you put that right in the center, you can change up the colors on each one with a very small scrap of paper. And that leaves the dots in the center and the slits open, so you can see the paper poking out from underneath it. And then you can finish it off with a little piece of pattern paper at the end to make it look like it's continued. If the punch is punched out the way it's designed on the punch itself, you end up with these 2 half tickets, I like to call it, at the end of the punch. But there is a way that we can punch it out and get 5 whole tickets across if you prefer not to have the half tickets on the edge of the punch. But I kind of like it because it kind of looks like it's running off and then it just got cut off because that's the edge of the page, and you get the feeling that it's going to just continue to run on and on and on. Let me put this aside and show you how to punch it to get 5 tickets in a row. Let me bring in another piece of cardstock. Use this nice bright red one. normally when we use our punches, we use the black guidelines on the front, and that would give us this punch out up here. But this time what we want to do is kind of trick the punch and we want to bring our paper into the punch, but we slide it all the way over here. You'll see on this platform, we have the dots lined up right there, but then there's a little triangle down there as well. Some of our punches have that on there to help you guide it through. But this time I'm going to take the edge of my paper and put it right on that triangle, halfway in that triangle, or halfway between the dots up here on the ticket punch. I'm going to start punching in this position, and then I'm going to continue punching by lining it up like normal, and I'll come back and catch that little area right there. So now I'm done with punching this out, and I have the 4 tickets, so I want to come back to this side, thread the paper through the punch on this side. Let me get the scraps out of the way and line it up like normal, but on the opposite side of the punch. And then that will give you the 5 tickets in a row. And then what I think is so great about this punch is when you cut it apart and you make individual little embellishments with it, or add it for little tucking pieces for your embellishments, or embellishment cluster bases. There's so many great uses once we cut it apart. So to cut it apart, I like how it has the rough edge at that end. So I would just take my scissors and cut straight down the middle of the dots, and it gives you the perforated look of a ticket. And I would just keep doing that until I had 5 loose tickets. These could be used for any kind of game as well. We just used this ticket punch for our white elephant game on Christmas Eve. And so my daughter punched them all out, and she put numbers on the front, and people were very impressed. Their exact words were, "Oh, you kicked it up a notch this year." They loved the new ticket format. So there we go. We have our tickets. And what I like to do is I just punched out a bunch of them in different colors. So every time I wanted to change my color, I would just punch a whole row, and I started collecting them in my little tray here, so that you can just, as you're making embellishments or you want them for tucking pieces, you can just pull them right out of your tray or your box. Let me put this away and we'll get on to our first embellishment. So what I recommend is whenever you have a punch that you want to play with or highlight, then I suggest looking at all your other tools and kind of making mental notes of maybe your favorite ones, or ones you haven't used in a while, or some that you think would pair nicely with the punch you're working with. So for example, I pulled out my 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and I found that it pairs very nicely with the tickets. It gives me an area where I can put the tickets on, like a base for my tickets, or you'll see throughout the video how I'm going to use this circle punch a couple different ways. So pull out your other punches and see what you feel like using. And as I went through, I just started punching, and I had a ton of tools on my desk, and it was really fun. And I just played with my scraps. I didn't cut into any full pieces of paper. From here on out in the video, most of the tickets that I'm going to use, you will see I have already pre-punched them out. I didn't think I would need to show you again how I did that. So this one is a pre-made embellishment. I like to make these ahead of time. Some collections come with a ton of embellishments and stickers to choose from, and others I feel like I need more, or I want to be inspired a different way. This, I pre-made it, but it could also be made right on your page. So if making them ahead of time is not your thing, then it's totally fine. You can do this right on your page as well. So for this one, I started with 2 ticket punch outs. I'm just going to change up the colors here so that we can see how it works with different colors and different motifs. And then I punched a circle using my circle punch. That's going to be kind of like the base to my cluster, and I have 1 ticket at the bottom kind of going straight across, so almost like making an L shape with the circle, but I have it hanging off the bottom ever so slightly, and you can move that around as much as you want. You can even back behind the little slits there in the ticket, like I did on this one. I put a little piece of scrap paper behind just to cover that up on that first one, but the second one I did not. Okay, so you can have that like that. Then I took the second ticket and tilted it upwards so it kind of overlapped and went like that. I used a little staple on the first one, but on this one I'm just going to use a little bit of adhesive. And then I just start layering them up and adhering them as I go. The repositionable adhesive will allow you to move it around a little bit if you're not happy with the placement. Now for this one, I wanted to do something different because I would try and make them all a little bit different if I could. On this top one, I used the double rickrack border making cartridge, and then I punched it out and I just took a little snip of that to tuck in underneath there. So what I would do here is I wanted to do some flowers. I'm going to use this one on more of an outdoor layout. So I then used my sweet blossoms. This is the trio sweet blossom punch, and I punched out different colors. What I like to do with this punch, when you make one punch out, you get 3 different pieces. You'll get the large flower, the small one, and then the centerpiece. So I did it on 3 different pieces, and then I just mixed and matched the pieces to create the different flowers. And then I'm just going to layer these up. I made 3, but I think 3 might be a little too much. So I don't think I can get all 3 on this little cluster base, but I'll have an extra one for something later on. This one, I probably will pop up onto some foam tape. It'll go like that. And then I like how I had this rickrack kind of protruding out from underneath the other pieces of the embellishment and kind of hanging off the edge. So for the same idea here, I'm going to bring in my 5-leaf punch and punch out 1 leaf. Now I like to turn my punches upside down when I can so I can see exactly where to put the paper, especially when I'm using a small scrap. I love punching the leaf out onto pattern paper because it gives it just a little bit of design, but a solid cardstock would work super great here as well. Now I'm just going to move these around, have the leaf tucked underneath the flowers. I like how we have how I used a little word sticker up here. I wanted to do the same thing. So for that, I'm going to bring in these teeny tiny word stickers. I feel like my flowers are bigger and my leaf is a little more chunky. So I want to keep my scale in mind here as well. And so I was able to use a bigger word sticker up here, but for this one, I just want to use a smaller one. I'm going to make this ahead of time, so I want it to be pretty generic. So I'm going to use this word right here that says beautiful, because I think that could be used for many different things. And I will come and tuck that right in over here. Let's see if we like it. Yep, I love it. Let me adhere all this down and I'll show you a close-up right here. And as you can see in this close-up view, I did change where I put the word beautiful. I liked it more on the right-hand side than I did on the left-hand side. I think gems would look very beautiful on here as well. Depends on how much you want to build up your cluster. Okay, come on back and we'll move on to number 2. This next one won't come as a surprise to those of you that know me well. You know I love my 3-in-1 beveled tag punch. I just can't get enough of it. I use it all the time to do this kind of thing where I use it as a base to my embellishment cluster area. So here you can see that I used it again as a base, and I decorated and I put the ticket punch right here. I only used 1 this time, and I also used it as a journaling spot, so I got a lot on my little tag this time. I used the 2.5-inch punch and rounded the corners. And you'll see here I also brought in 3 other punches to use along with it. So on this one embellishment cluster, I used 5 different punches, and so that's what I really recommend. Pull out the things you love, pull out the things that you're comfortable with, and then see what you can create with your new punch and the pieces that come out of that punch. Okay, so let's recreate this one, doing it a little bit different. I'm bringing in some scraps from my Setup Camp collection. So for my tag, I think I want to use this scrap here with the trees. And so I would want it to go, the trees to be going horizontally on the tag. I know that I want to use the biggest tag that I can on my punch, which would be 2.5. So that's easy enough to cut a 2.5-inch piece and punch out a tag. This one here, it's a 2.5-inch wide by 4-inch long. I'm going to do another little technique that you've probably seen me do before, and that's I'm going to change my blade to a decorative blade. I like to use decal, is one of my favorite, especially when I'm doing outdoor layouts. So let's go ahead and trim this down using the decal blade, and I am going to go cut it at 4 inches. You can see how it just kind of gave it a different treatment. Here I corner round, here I use the trimmer blades. Okay, so let's decorate this one similar to how we did there. So again, I'm going to bring in my circle punch. I fell in love with this punch when it came to incorporating it along with the ticket. This one, the ticket punch out is more of a rectangle and kind of has some sharp corners. So I thought it paired so nicely with the roundness of the circle. But there are probably some other tools that we can use along with it that would kind of give us the same effect. So let me know in the comments if you know of any punch that you would want to use along with your ticket punch. So I have my circle element here. This time I'm going to lay it on top of the tag. Then I'm going to take my ticket and I'm going to hang it way off to the side over here. I want it to go past the circle like that. And since this is more of like an outdoor camping, hiking kind of embellishment area, I'm going to bring in the trail sign punch, another one of my all-time favorites, and I will punch out one of these. I'm going to put it over the circle and tuck it under the ticket, and we can have it leaning that way, or we can have it leaning to the opposite side. For this one, I reached into my stash and I pulled out a couple of stickers from the Setup Camp sticker sheet, and I loved this one. It's a leaf that says, "The woods are calling, I must go." And I thought that is a perfect little sentiment to put right there in the middle of the ticket like I did over here, but now it just has a leaf shape and then one more little element. In fact, I'm going to pop this up onto some foam and hang it right off the leaves like that. And I want to turn it around. Since we have the capabilities of double-sided paper, this one has the cute, it's like a darker blue. It's dark blue with, it almost looks like a sky, a night sky, but they're actually little plus signs. And I'm just going to change that and see if I like that better. And I do. I like the dark blue better than all the trees, even though that was my original thought. But I do. I like it. It makes my embellishment cluster really pop out. So if you still wanted to put some journaling strips, I just cut those with a 1/4-inch strip of white cardstock on my trimmer. You could also use our brand new write-on stickers that just launched today, in fact. So if you haven't seen those, hop on over to Creative Memories. I'll have my website linked in the description of this video, but we have new stickers that we can write on and get this same effect. And you can do that, or you can even just bring in a small piece of cardstock, and it depends on how much you have to say for your journaling, and you can just use a piece of cardstock sticking off to the side as well. Or in my case, I'm not going to use it for journaling, so I could scoot things over just a tad, and there we go. Let me go ahead and get this all adhered down, but I will show you a close-up of it right here. And you can see that I did actually go ahead and add some twine on it. This time I used brown, but everything else was pretty much the same. So let me go ahead and clean this up, and we'll be right back with idea number 3. Okay, if those last two were a little bit much for you, it's not everybody's favorite thing to do to create embellishment clusters with 5 to 7 or more pieces of die cuts or stickers that we tuck into our embellishment clusters. So let me show you one that is a little bit less, and it's just using one ticket. And this is my reminder, is to you is to think of it when it comes to using it for theme items. So here's one where I use just one ticket punch, the love letters punch, just punched out, put that circle here, and then added a little heart next to it. Very simple, but yet this would pack a punch on a Valentine's or a love layout of any kind. Okay, so there's that one. And then I turned around and used the letters that punched out of the love letters punch, and I put it on a second ticket, and this time put a heart up on the top like that. So you can get double duty out of your love letter punches. One idea, here's another one I did for a baby layout, and I just did one ticket. And again, I brought in my 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and then I just decorated it with some vintage Creative Memory stickers. I had made a little banner that said "It's a boy," and then just brought in those 2 stickers. So something very cute, very sweet. This could even act as a title on your page. And then here's a really super easy one as well. And this is just using stickers. I weaved a piece of paper, the orange paper, behind there, just like I showed at the beginning of the video. So it kind of gave me that base to use. And I put some stickers down here at the bottom. This was a full sticker that said Autumn Days. I just cut it in half and angled it on there. So we don't have to be super elaborate, and just using one ticket is an awesome look as well. And again, I would probably make these as I'm creating the page. So let's do one really quickly and do a Christmas one. And this time I will punch so I can show you how to punch just one ticket. So I'm going to bring in this candy cane paper, and I'm going to do the same thing I showed at the beginning. I'm going to start it over here halfway between the dots and that triangle, push it up to the top, punch down, and then I'm going to slide it to the other side, line it up, and punch down, and now I have one ticket. I'll trim it off, and there we go. And then I'm going to bring in this little Santa Claus die cut and put him kind of right there in the middle, kind of poking off the top and the bottom. I'm going to bring in my sticker sheets, and I like this green one here that says Deck the Halls. Again, I'm pre-making this for a layout, so these are very generic terms that I can use for a layout. And I'm going to pop this up onto some foam tape and place it just like this across the ticket punch. So it kind of pops off the side right there. Now, when I'm looking at this, I think, well, there are 3 elements and our rule of odd numbers, but I still feel like it's missing something. So I want to bring in my circle punch again, and this time I have a couple circle punches that I already had punched out from when I was playing with the different embellishments. So let's see, I would slide it in behind there and just kind of rest it right there. And you see how much that just changed everything. It kind of just gave Santa more of a base to sit on. Let's see if we like the darker green or the lighter green. Nope, I know right away I like the darker green because it matches a little bit more with the green I have in the sticker. So yep, I would just do something like that. I'll adhere this on and show you a close-up of it right here. Okay, here is number 4, and I think this is my favorite one. It's using 3 tickets punched out just like this. And then I just did some decorating across the top. And I love this because of those odd numbers again. I think 3 is just pleasing to the eye. And this is basically like a half border. You can put this on a bottom of a page or tucked up at the top of the page where you might have some open area that you want to fill in. Okay, so let's decorate this, because this one I literally used with just some things that I had laying around my desk and some stickers, leftover stickers from some Totally Tonal packs. So I love the look, but let's do one a little more intentional and use the new amusement park decorations as well as the sticker sheet, because I would try I do try to use a little bit of everything. Sometimes, you know, other punches or some die cuts, the enamels, and the stickers. So I do try and add a little bit. You'll see here I use stickers, punch out, more stickers, punch outs, and then these are little gems that I added to the top of the flower, and that's just a leaf from my die cut machine. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I really wanted to use this parade banner. Scoot that up. Okay, so I'm thinking like either here in the center or off to the side. And then this pack came with these gorgeous embellishments. So I would probably place that right over on top of the stick from the parade banner. And then in fact, I think I am going to move it to the side to kind of put my heavier items off to the side over here. I'm going to bring in my fireworks punch because it's the same design as the fireworks die cuts that are in the amusement park collection. And again, I'm just going to bring in a little scrap. There we go. So this way I have a smaller one. So I have the big one and a little one. So I'm kind of looking at the different sizes here. I have blue up here in the banner, so I love that. And let's look at the stickers. We kind of want to go this direction. So let's see what we have. I like these small little tickets. There's a couple here, but there's also down here, there's one. But I love this one. It says imagine and then dream. And I kind of want to layer them up like this. And then kind of tuck that right over here. Like that. Maybe a little red star would be cute. Let's see. Put it like this. And then an even smaller one. Like that. Super cute. And let's look at some enamels. I kind of like the little arrow facing that direction. That's cute. And then I'm going to put one of those dots in the center of that big firework and the same matching little dot in the center of the smaller firework. And there we go. Yep, I love it. I love this half size. It's a little more than half. I love this size, and I would definitely use that on a page. So let me get this all adhered down, and I'll show you a close-up right here. Didn't change anything this time. I loved it so much, I just left everything the way it was. Okay, let's come on back, and I'm going to show you the fifth and final idea. Okay, so since I called this Borders and More, I feel like I should probably show you a border idea as well. So besides what we can do by weaving and covering up some of these that I showed at the beginning, we can also create beautiful borders with this punch as well. And here's one that I created. I punched the 5 tickets out like I showed, and using it as a 12-inch border off to the side. So it's using the ticket punch out as the base for the border. So let's go ahead and recreate that using some different papers. I love the pinks and the greens and the reds and all that, but let's see what else we can create. But I'm going to keep it fairly the same. So let me go ahead and punch out one of the 5-piece ticket borders, and I'm going to use a piece of scrap, and I'll go ahead and put you on fast forward while I do that. Okay, so this one's a little bit darker here, but it's beautiful. I love this paper. And let's bring in the leafy vine border punch, and that's how I punched out the vine that goes back here. And any of the other punches or border making cartridges that kind of go in a staggered effect would look really nice here. Like I'm thinking of like brocade chain from the border making cartridges, things like that. But I do want this one to be another outdoors layout. So I'm going to go ahead and leaves and flowers again. Very nice. It's fitting nicely. If you wanted it to pop out a little more, you could use different tones of green and blue, but I like that it's going to be just a little subtle green in the background. Okay, and now I'm going to punch out some flowers. And again, you'll see that I have an odd number. I have 5 flowers on here, so I will punch out 5 flowers using the embossed blossoms punch. Okay, then I'm just going to stagger them down the border like I did over here. And I'll alternate them so that they won't all, the same colors won't be all clustered together. And over on this page, I used 3 different patterns, which is also nice touch as well. So I recommend at least 2 or 3 different patterns. So I'll do that. And then I had punched out a bunch of ladybugs when I did this. So I'm just going to place around my border. Now this is a bigger one, and you'll see here, I put a smaller one here and the bigger one down there. And I liked it because I felt like the bigger one, it was a little bit heavier, so it should be down toward the bottom. And then there's even a tiny one. And again, if you wanted to use 2 or 3, that would look super nice. And then I also brought in my lace butterfly punch. That's how I punched that. And I love this punch. It's so beautiful. And you can put that somewhere around here. So you can really keep adding as many little critters or more punch outs. I can do another one and maybe put it down at the bottom, however many you like. I like to take this one and kind of bend his wings upward. And I probably put it just like that. So I have one facing that way and one facing the other way. And then the very last thing I would do is bring in some gems for the center of my flowers. I want to stick with the blue theme. So I'll bring in some blue gems, and I love doing this in the center of my flowers. And I'll continue all the way up and show you a close-up of this one right here. So it didn't change anything. I just adhered it all down. And I love it. It's a little bit darker tone than the pink one, but yet it's still beautiful. So get those scraps out. Use scraps that you already like, and guaranteed your border will come out beautiful and you'll love it. Okay, come on back, and I'm going to have everything out on the table to wrap up. Okay, so here's all of our embellishments that we created in this time together. So we have our medium-size embellishment cluster, then we moved into the tag, and we have a little bit larger one down here where we use 3 tickets, and then of course our border. Can't forget to use it as an actual border, and a reminder to use it as for your themes, and you could use just a 1 ticket punch. So there's a huge variety here between 1, 2, and 3 tickets, and then using all 5 tickets in a row. So I hope that inspired you to get your punches out. If it's not the ticket punch, then I hope that it's something else. There's a lot of punches out there that we can do this exact same thing with. And I think I want to make that part of my challenge to myself this year, is to just pull my tools out more often and use them. I used a total of 10 additional punches creating all of these different layouts. And that's what I want to do this year. I want to pull out my tools and use them in unique and different ways. And so I hope that you come around the rest of the year and see what we're going to do. Until next time, everybody, Happy New Year again. Take care, and I'm going to see you real soon. And if you're looking for more inspiration, I'm going to put up here on the screen some popular videos on my channel where I also use tools to create embellishments. So I hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.